I cannot tell you guys how much I'm looking forward to this fight. Man, Timothy Bradley versus Juan Manuel Marquez. It's been a long time coming, and I think boxing fans have been looking for this fight for a long time. Timothy Bradley, coming off of that win versus Ruslan Provodkinov, put on a really great performance filled with heart and guts, and he was able to get the victory. And I think the bigger victory that he got was that he was able to prove to Bobby that he can put on good fights, and now Bob Arum is finally going to put him in there with Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, even with that being said, it's not like Bob Arum really had any other options. This was his last option, and he had to make this fight happen. He got backed into a corner. Marquez said no to Pacquiao 5. Thank goodness for Marquez actually listening to the fans, because if not, we would have been headed for another fight with Manny Paquiao. So Marquez stopped that and said we're going to get Timothy Bradley versus Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, if you really love boxing, and I'm not talking about fighters, I'm just talking about the sport of boxing, this is going to be the fight for you because some great boxing is going to really be on display in this fight. And man, there's a lot of ways this fight can go, and I'm going to try to talk about it for a little bit. Juan Manuel Marquez coming off of the biggest victory in his career, he's finally able to rid himself of the whole Pacquiao situation in dramatic fashion, and now he's pretty much a Mexican legend. If he already wasn't, I mean, I'm pretty sure he already was, but he pretty much solidified it. And now, after that big win over Pacquiao, he's looking to fight Timothy Bradley. And because of the way that he beat Pacquiao with that knockout, I mean, I guess that adds a new dynamic to the fight, which I guess we never really thought we'd be talking about, which is Juan Manuel Marquez's power. That becomes a factor in this fight. I mean, the guy's definitely beefed up. So that's something else that we got to consider when we look at this fight. Here's the thing, and I love me some Juan Manuel Marquez. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. I'll tell you right now. I mean, this guy is really technical. I love how he studies his opponents and really game plans for his opponents. He's one of the few fighters out there who really does that, So yeah, you gotta love that. But here's the thing. You gotta understand that Marquez fought Manny Pacquiao 4 times. 4 times. Let's just think about that for a second. 4 fights. Now, a lot of times a fighter loses to a fighter in one fight, comes back in a rematch, studies the first fight, understands what they did wrong and makes the adjustments. Okay, here's a guy who had 4 fights to do that. Okay, and a lot of people are going to say, hey, and in a lot of those fights he got robbed. He won a lot of those fights, and I can understand that. But all I'm saying is he did have a lot of time to really know the ins and out of Manny Pacquiao, okay? And in this situation, it's going to be different, okay? He hasn't fought Timothy Bradley, okay? So that's what's going to make this actually interesting, And the same thing goes for Timothy Bradley. I mean, he hasn't fought a fighter quite like Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, he's getting in there with a counterpuncher. A guy who's a terrific boxer. And man, this is just such a hard one to really look at because there's so many factors. We gotta take into the account that Bradley came off of a really gutsy and gory win versus Ruslan Provodkinov. I mean, that was a fight where Bradley took a lot of punishment. So we gotta wonder, hey, is Bradley gonna be more susceptible to getting hurt? We gotta think about that. But here's the deal, and here's what I see. I see 2 things. I see a guy in Bradley who's able to fight off the front foot and off of the back foot. Same thing with Marquez. He can fight off of the front foot or off of the back foot. But here's the difference. Off of the front foot, I'm not so sure Marquez is as comfortable as Timothy Bradley is. Okay? How many times have we really seen Marquez really pressing the action and moving forward? I mean, usually he's a guy who you see kind of gingerly moving backwards, looking to set up counters. That's usually who Marquez is. And because he's going to really be feeling out Timothy Bradley, because he's never been in the ring with him, that's what I expect from him. I'd be very surprised to see him coming forward against Timothy Bradley. And Timothy Bradley can do both things. I think that Timothy Bradley is going to come forward in spots, and he's going to fight on the back foot in spots. He's going to look at two things. Obviously, he's going to look at the Pacquiao fights, but he's also going to study that Floyd Mayweather fight. Okay? And Floyd Mayweather was able to really take the initiative in that fight. I mean, you had two counterpunchers, so obviously one person had to be the guy who was coming forward more and being more aggressive. And in that fight, it was Floyd. And I feel like Bradley is going to really watch that fight and kind of try to adapt to what Floyd did. Here's the difference, though. Timothy Bradley, no matter what, isn't Mayweather. And he's going to be able to get hit with punches and with flush punches from Marquez because he's such a crisp counterpuncher. He's going to be able to calculate some of the things that Bradley's doing in there and hit Bradley. So this is just going to be really interesting, man. It's going to be really interesting. Really, honestly, this is a 50-50 fight. This is the definition right here of a 50-50 fight. I see how you could easily build a case for both of these guys. Okay? Because if Timothy Bradley pressures Juan Manuel Marquez, but gives him too much space and doesn't pressure him, and with throwing different looks at him and just doing a lot. You got to do so much when you're fighting Marquez because if you don't, he's going to figure it out and he's going to do to you what he did to Pacquiao. Okay? And he might not knock you out, but he's going to hit you with some really hard straight right hands. And it's not going to feel good. So, like I said, you could build a case for both of these guys. But in this fight, if I'm going with Timothy Bradley by unanimous decision. I really am. Unless there's some funny business with the scorecards. I think that Timothy Bradley has different ways that he could beat Marquez. And at the end of the day, because I told you the way I feel like Marquez is going to fight, which is going to be counter punching mostly on the back foot, it's hard to win a fight that way, okay? It can be done, but as Marquez found out in that third Pacquiao fight, when you're not being aggressive, at the end of the day, these judges aren't good at scoring those kind of fights. We saw it in Mayweather's last fight when Mayweather was being aggressive. I mean, but you see it all the time. These judges, when it comes to counter punchers, they're just not really good at scoring those kind of fights. And they're going to look to give the guy who's trying to make the fight more points. Okay, so that really gives a big edge to Timothy Bradley. And then, like I said, when you incorporate the fact that Bradley can throw different looks at you, I see Bradley walking away with a unanimous decision. Like I said, unless there's funny business. And there's a high chance that there can be in this fight. There's a very high chance because let's not forget what's at stake, people. A fifth fight with Pacquiao. Bob Arum at this point is realizing that the jig is up, man. Top Rank is just disappearing, man. Top Rank is really disappearing. They're disappearing into irrelevance. So at the end of the day, Bobby's trying to get as much money as he can, and he realizes that that's going to be in a Marquez and Pacquiao going at it again. A fifth fight. So look out for funny business. That's all I'm going to say. Look out for funny business. But I'm happy for Timothy Bradley that he's getting this fight with Marquez. He's wanted it for a long time. I give Marquez props for stepping up to the plate and making this happen. If Marquez does win, this guy's stock is really just going to keep rising. If Marquez wins this fight, this is going to be controversial. But if Marquez wins this fight, we got to start talking about who has the better resume between him and Floyd Mayweather. I kid you not. We really got to start talking about it. Because if he could beat Timothy Bradley and get him on his resume, at this point, it's really going to be a really good debate as to who has the better resume between Marquez and Floyd Mayweather. it's not that far away to me. At the end of the day, it's really not that far away. But um, you know, we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, I'm picking Timothy Bradley in this fight. I'm gonna go out on a limb and pick Timothy Bradley. You guys, let me know what y'all think about this fight. Who do y'all see winning? Are you looking forward to this? And what would you like to see the winner do? If Timothy Bradley wins, I say go ahead and fight Manny Pacquiao. Go ahead and clear up that whole situation. Go do that rematch. Uh, yeah. So that's it. Peace.